Good afternoon, everybody. Monte Coleman, stress management, conflict resolution coach. Today, I wanted to give a brief talk on a subject that really goes a long way to stress management and also to professionalism and relationship building. Consistency. Consistency is one of those things that we find in our life is important when it comes to dealing with others because it builds trust. In business, consistency is priceless because it shows that you can be relied upon. Think about your own life. You had an issue or a need to be fulfilled, and you had to call a vendor, and you knew a vendor who was very reasonably priced, maybe even a little cheap, but he may or may not show. Or there was a vendor who was a little more expensive, but guaranteed to show, guaranteed to meet his deadlines, and always produces a quality product. He's consistent. So consistency is something that we all look for in our relationships. So one of the ways it helps with your stress, when you're consistent, you achieve your goals. By achieving your goals, you avoid stress. Today I want to talk first about why is consistency important. It's important because it's a relationship builder. It's important because it helps you achieve your goals. It's also important because it builds character and self-discipline. And dealing with that issue of building character self-discipline, there's some tools that we can add to our repertoire that would help us to become more consistent. The first thing is create and practice a daily routine. One of the key things you hear from most successful people is they have a routine. You hear from Eric Thomas, a famous motivational speaker. He gets up every day at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. You hear from other people who that may read books for 6 hours or may take a walk in the park every day at a certain time. But having a daily routine, a schedule, especially for when you wake. If you want to have a consistent lifestyle, pick a consistent time to wake up. Next, you want to have time scheduled for yourself, quiet time, meditation time where you actually work on what your schedule is going to be like for the day, time where you lay out future plans, and also time where you kind of analyze your productivity with past plans. So you want to set that time as well. Meals. Another thing about consistency is just a way of practicing it or implementing our daily lives is to have meals on regular schedule, meaning we have a breakfast at a certain time, lunch at a certain time, and dinner at a certain time. What this does is help you structure your day. Because in order to be consistent, you have to have control of your time, which is time management, which if you follow is the theme we're kind of sticking with now. Self-care is important for consistency. You cannot be consistent if you're tired. So having a sleep time or a time when you go to bed at night in a consistent way will help you be more consistent during the day because you'll be well rested. So that means avoiding, late night movies or late night television. One of the other things or tools that we want to try to use when it comes to being consistent is to set up personal standards. These personal standards are limiting your days off. If you know you have a work week of Monday through Friday and you're supposed to be there at 9 and end at 5, have a personal standard where you are there 95% of the time. Or some of us who are more disciplined, 97% of the time. And don't let anything waver from that. Be consistent, be disciplined. Think before making agreements. One of the things that keep us from being consistent is we over promise and under deliver. We tell people that we will give them things or do things that may be outside of our ability. For instance, telling your boss you're going to work an 80-hour schedule during a week may be a little much and maybe something you can't do consistently. So being more realistic, if you know realistically you can work a 55-hour schedule and be consistent with that, be honest, be realistic. So when you when you make agreements, make sure that there's something that you can fulfill. Don't promise to pay Verizon on the 15th knowing you don't get paid till the 20th. You won't be consistent with that. So when you think about consistency, you also think about future planning. Make sure your promises are at a level you can guarantee they fulfill, and make sure you don't overpromise. So remember, under promise, over deliver. Your word is your bond. And being consistent, we talk about not over-promising, but also make sure you promise and deliver what you promise. So therefore, if you promise that you're going to be at work at 5 o'clock, you give your word, you should be there at 4:55. So make sure when you give your word, you make it your personal stand to have your word be your bond. But that also means don't give your word lightly. Many of us are not consistent because we give our word too fast and don't take it very seriously. So make your word your bond. Learn to say no. Many of us cannot be consistent because we agree to things we really do not want to do in the first place, or things that we cannot do. Learn to say no and protect your consistency, protect your name, protect your agreements. So the best way to do that is to just say no to things you will not do or that you can't do. Learn to say no. Take inventory of your time and resources. When scheduling your week and promising out your time to other people, make sure to look at your schedule, see if that time is available. Too many times, I know I'm guilty of this myself, I'll tell somebody I'll do something Monday at 3 o'clock, not realize I have something to do at 2:30 and something to do at 4 o'clock, and there's no way I can fit them in. So what you want to do is be a person who has your schedule or your calendar always on hand, and before you make any commitments, you check your calendar. A lot of people, a lot of us, and I'm guilty of this myself, are not consistent, not because we are inconsistent by nature, because we overschedule. Make sure you keep control of your schedule. Give yourself buffer time. If it takes you 45 minutes to get to an appointment, give yourself an hour between appointments. If you know a meeting is going to take an hour, give yourself an hour and a half for that meeting. And this way, by doing those things, you can make sure that you can be more consistent. The next skill set we want to talk about is having SMART goals. SMART goals are goals that are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. The reason why having SMART goals is important is when we set goals, especially that involve other people, we talk about being consistent here. If our goal is not specific, it becomes chaotic. So therefore, if our goal is to be a millionaire, it's like up in the air as to what the millionaire is or how to get there. Our goal should be specific. My goal is that I want to have $100 in the bank by the end of the month. I want it measurable. The $100 makes it measurable. Attainable. If you know you only make $50 a month, you cannot have $100 in the bank. But if you know you make $1,000 a month, it's attainable for you to have $100 in the bank by the end of the month. Relevant. Why are you putting $100 in the bank? Make sure it's something that's valuable to you. You'll be consistent with those things that have value. Timely. I said 1 month. We have to give ourselves time. When you say you're going to do something and give yourself a numerous amount of time, you open the door for procrastination in many different ways. So use SMART goals to craft your time and measure your time, and then every so often stop and take account of yourself. Have I achieved my goals? Have I been a person who kept my appointments? Have I kept my agreements? Have I said no when times called for saying no? Have I said yes when I have the ability? Have I taken consideration my time and resources before making commitments? And if not, write it down where you failed and where you made those errors so that you can review and move forward and be more consistent. And I like to practice something. This is more of a discipline side of consistency, these last 3 points. It's called the 3-second rule. Some of us, when we fail to be consistent, allow emotion to avoid us from being consistent. When I say emotion, I don't mean anger or sadness. I mean, I don't feel like it today, or I'm just not in the mood. What I like to do before doing any appointment, engagement, getting out of the bed, or doing any task that may be daunting is start the task before 3 seconds. When it's time to do the task, get up immediately within 3 seconds and begin. If you wait 3 seconds, you give the brain time to talk you out of it. The human brain is designed to make life easy on you. So your mind will call you to that which is easy. So when you're faced with a difficult task, if you wait more than 3 seconds and think about it too much, you'll find 10,000 reasons why not to do it. So the 3-second rule is simple. When your alarm gets up, when your alarm goes off for you to wake up, get out of the bed within 3 seconds. When your schedule goes off, it's time to go to that meeting, immediately go to that meeting. When you're having a task and need to switch to another task, immediately switch. Give yourself no more than 3 seconds when you have a schedule and engagements or scheduled commitments. The 3-second rule helps. Practice the something suck rule. The something suck rule is every day we want to do one of our tasks that really suck. And we all have tasks during the day that we know suck. I like to personally do tasks that suck first. If you get the tasks that suck out the way, you'll usually get the tasks that don't suck done. But if you get the tasks that you like to do first done, all of a sudden your brain says, oh, we're so tired, we can't get them done. So every day, do something that sucks and try to do that what sucks first. The last one, practice what I call the ink is dry rule. The ink is dry rule. Once I've committed myself to do something, I tell myself the ink is dry, it cannot be changed. That commitment is locked in stone. When you give yourself that type of self-discipline and lock things in stone, you don't give yourself a way to negotiate out of a thing. Many of us say, well, I said I would take my mom to the store at 10 o'clock. She'd be okay if I go to 11. No, have a personal standard for yourself. It's written in stone. If you said you would take your mom to the store at 9 o'clock, tell yourself there's no option for me other than to be there at 9. So these are just a few points that I've wrong about being consistent. Hopefully these tools will help. Hopefully you'll create a daily routine that helps build discipline. Hopefully you'll learn to say no to things that you cannot do. Hopefully you'll take stock of your inventory, your time, your resources to make sure you don't promise more than you can give. Hopefully you use SMART goals in your daily activities. Hopefully before you make an agreement, you think about everything that goes along with the agreement and don't promise too big and deliver too small. You want to promise small and deliver big. And hopefully use the 3-second rule, the something that sucks every day rule. And last but not least, remember, once you give your word, the ink is dry. Thank you for your time. Monte Coleman, Stress Management Coach. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to comment and like. You can reach me at montec@iescoaching.com. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. You have a great day.